Hello, welcome to Zeke Speaks. Today we are talking about the wins and losses of the commercial war during the Super Bowl. Stay tuned. Hello, welcome back to Zeke Speaks. I'm your host, Zeke Rempel. Like I said, we are talking about the wins and losses of the Super Bowl commercial war. Since we had such a huge televised event that happened this weekend in the Super Bowl, I wanted to dive into some of these small little stories that happened in the commercials that I thought that were worth talking about. Now, the Super Bowl is big for two things: football and commercials. I watch it for the commercials. I'm a soccer fan, so I don't really watch football that much. Now, the purpose of commercials are entirely different compared to video games and movies, so to say. The format to storytell in these formats has to be completely different. They have to be shorter, they have to be much more concise, they have to be eye-catching. So I cannot think of a better place to observe wins and losses of commercials than the Super Bowl. So let's jump into this. Now, in the beginning of the Super Bowl, the commercials were strong, I felt. It made me feel like the old days of commercials during the Super Bowl. Like, they were making me laugh. There's some funny concepts. And then we reached that middle point near around halftime where commercials tried to be a little bit more emotional and pull at the heart a little bit. And there was a lot of this, so it got a little overwhelming and a little dry because you'd seen it over and over and over again. And then after that, I feel like there was no notable commercials near the end of the game. So I felt like it started strong, hit kind of a dry sequence of commercials, and then it just plummeted. It was over. So we're going to jump into the wins and losses of all the commercials. Now, there's plenty more, so I want to hear your thoughts and which commercials you liked in the comments, because I may not talk about the ones that you loved or you hated. So please comment your opinions, your thoughts. I want to hear about them. All the links of the commercials I will talk about will be down below. I challenge you, go watch them. They're very entertaining to watch. Again, they're little storytelling experiences. So let's start with all the winners of the night. My first one is Jeep. Now, Jeep made a commercial involving the Groundhog Day. They had Bill Murray, some of the classic characters from the movie of Groundhog Day. And basically, Bill Murray goes on this journey with his groundhog, and they advertise the new Jeep. And there's two things I liked about this commercial. First of all, I think the new Jeep looks really cool. And Bill Murray goes on this journey with this groundhog, and I think it created a pretty nice flow to it. You go through all these adventures. Bill Murray always makes me laugh. It's kind of a fun little journey you go on with them. And by the end, you see the Jeep in all these different environments doing all these cool things. And at the end, there's like this cool moment. You know, you have like this nostalgic feeling to the movie Groundhog Day. I thought it was really cool that they casted iconic characters from a pretty iconic movie and blended it with the Jeep brand. And I thought that was really cool. And they did a really good job at doing that. Another win for me was the Google Loretta commercial. Now, if you watched this, you probably cried. Everybody in the room I was watching definitely felt some emotional turn after they watched this commercial. It's basically an old man using Google products to kind of remember all the memories that he had of his wife. It's very emotional. It tugs at the heart, definitely. Now, I label this as a win for Google because this was the first of all these emotional commercials that I talked about. After that, I think Facebook and Surface Pro had similar kind of feeling commercials, and Google beat them to the punch. So after I watched the Google commercial, all the other ones were like, I've already seen that. You're already trying to get at my heart. So Google won the race of putting it out there, but I also think it was a great quality commercial. It advertised the products, the use of all the Google stuff. So I definitely think that was a definite win for them. My next biggest win was definitely the one I probably laughed at the most, was Cheetos Can't Touch This commercial. It blended two really cool things. Now, the concept of Cheeto fingers is all in my life. I love hot Cheetos. I have Cheeto fingers all the time after I eat them. And then they mix it with the famous song Can't Touch This. It was just amazing. I laughed out loud because I related to it, and I also love the concept of Can't Touch This. Really good job of blending that together. It also brought out this new Cheeto popcorn that I'm really interested in that I'm probably going to try. Now, my favorite commercial of the night, are you ready for this? Was the Mountain Dew Zero commercial. Now, this one's getting a lot of press, so you've probably heard about it. which go watch it. The link's down below. It's Bryan Cranston basically starring in the Shining movie with a few changes. What I think is really cool that they blended these iconic scenes of The Shining. My favorite shot, I think, of the whole thing is Mountain Dew going down the hallway, kind of like the blood does in The Shining, because that's such a famous scene for me. I didn't laugh out loud too much at this commercial. It was more of like it was visually pleasing, because I was like, oh yeah, I love The Shining. You know, it was kind of like I was taking on this little journey. The last shot of the commercial made me laugh out loud. It's pretty good. It's Bryan Cranston. He's basically the two twins, and he's drinking Mountain Dew Zero. It's kind of funny. Definitely, probably my favorite commercial of the night. I would say it's the biggest win because it's getting the most press, positive press. Now let's jump into the fails. Now I love watching failed commercials because they're funny to watch, and I love making fun of them. Now my first one is a little controversial. It's Mr. Planters. No, it's Planters Mr. Peanut commercial. Now, if you knew anything about this, they were killing off Mr. Peanut, and there's a little controversial subject of why they didn't air to part 1. Go look into that. There's a reason why they did. I don't want to go into that. I just want to go into, they aired the commercial of the revival of Mr. Peanut into Baby Peanut, and they just threw it up there, and it's just kind of confusing. You watch it, you're like, what? Well, what happened to Mr. Peanut? And then you see this Baby Peanut, and for me, it just felt like it was just jumping on the bandwagon of Baby Yoda. That's kind of the big thing. Babies is kind of the concept right now. It's all the craze. I could tell people were confused in the room I was watching it with. They're like, whoa, what is this? Definitely a fail in the storytelling business. My next fail is Hulu's big announcement commercial that starred Tom Brady. Now, I didn't like this commercial, not because of Tom Brady. I could care less about Tom Brady. I don't watch football. I don't have an opinion about him. And actually, I recently liked all of Hulu's ads that they do push and they do promote. I like their brand. I like their logos. I like their schemes. They usually do a pretty good job of staying pretty classic or pretty classy, so to say. And I just feel like this commercial was boring. You know, you're having a commercial at the Super Bowl. You know, you want to grab attention. And maybe they just thought Tom Brady would do that because he's kind of this big figure in football, whether you like him or not. But I just felt like it was boring, and the room kind of got quiet. I was watching it in fact, I probably went up and got more snacks, probably pizza rolls or something. I just felt like it was boring, and yeah, and kind of cliche to use a football player at the most televised football game of the year. It didn't do anything special for me, so that's why it's a fail. Now, the absolute worst commercial I saw is I definitely laughed at it because I'm like, this commercial is so bad. It was Olay's MAKESPACEFORWOMEN. Now, before I get into it, I actually like the concept that they tried to go for. They were trying to play off of famous space movies and fill them in with all women characters and try to make jokes about it to also advertise, you know, Olay's products. But I just think they definitely failed at doing this concept if that's what they were going for. For me, the commercial just failed miserably at trying to do whatever it was trying to do. Whatever it was trying to be, it failed. It was super cheesy. The acting was terrible. All the jokes were lame. The pacing was so bad. It was like so fast paced, and then they were flying in space. They were released in space. It was just all over the place. I had no idea what was happening. It just tried to do something that was, I guess, was kind of a cool concept because I liked it, but it just, whoever put that together just missed the mark by a lot for me, and that's why I definitely think it's the biggest fail. Now that I talked about my wins and losses, please go watch all these commercials. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on what commercials you liked, because this is definitely an awesome time to look into the commercial space. Which commercials have great storytelling, which ones are failing at it. So please go watch them. Go find the ones that you liked. Comment about them. Comment your opinions of the ones you liked, you disliked. I hope you enjoy this episode of Zeke Speaks. Please like, comment, and subscribe to stay up on my upcoming videos. I got a lot of good stuff coming. Thanks, guys. Hope to see you soon.